he comes down, does like this move, boom, 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 and I block it, but they call a foul. I said, man, stop bailing this old ass. and Chris is like, you fouled G. Like, you can't guard me.
What's up? This is Outta Pocket, a Buckets original presented by Wave Sports. I'm LaJethro Jenkins.
I'm Zach Schwartz. We got a very special guest.
We got the legend here.
Two-time Charlotte Observer Player of the Year, unanimous College All-American, SEC Player of the Year, and Vice President of the NBPA. Grant Williams, how you doing?
I'm doing well. I didn't know I had that many accolades.
Yeah.
Hey, that's a resume.
Appreciate you tapping in with us. We like to start off every show, or at least ask every guest, what was your welcome to the league moment?
Are we allowed to curse on the podcast?
Oh, for
all
sure.
you want.
Real thing
We get 3 N-words each. Zach donates his to
Zach
charity.
donates his
Donates his to charity.
Just like I donated that 20K just now.
We're going to talk
about that too.
We'll get to that, yeah.
For sure.
Let's just say my welcome to NBA moment was definitely when Chris Middleton served me a bunch of buckets in the game.
What do you mean by a bunch? Let's get some numbers.
Yeah.
Like, I think in his career, Chris Middleton shoots probably 86% against me when I'm not checking. That's how many buckets I think he's got.
That's a lot of buckets,
over the past 3 years. And it's not because it's not good defense. I don't know what he sees. Maybe it's the Celtics.
Yeah.
But like this man, when I first guarded him in the league, everybody's like, yeah, get into him, like pressure him, like physicality, all this stuff. So I'm doing all that. Next thing you know, he's shooting fadeaways, cash. I'm like, all right, cool.
Is he talking while he's doing it?
He's quiet.
Yes, that's the
He
worst.
seems
Like
quiet,
Chris, that
too.
seemed like that is the
quiet
worst.
because like he's from I think he's from South Carolina. I knew Aaron and everything like that. So like I remember I first connected with him and I was like, yo, like you gotta relax, bro. Like relax. Like I'm over here as a rookie. I'm trying my best.
right.
Back then I wasn't considered a defender. So this man was serving up straight buckets, and CJ McCollum too. Those are my two that I always remember
that makes
that
sense.
I'll never forget from my rookie years because I remember guarding CJ. We were on the baseline. He was from between, snatch, and I contest it.
Yeah.
Goes in. I'm like, okay, good defense. Like,
Yeah.
I'm cool with that. Next thing you know, it comes downhill. I think Dame didn't play that game. He was getting straight off. Came down, layup. I'm like, all right, cool. Like, that's 4 points. Like,
Oh, no.
next
Are
thing I
you
look
keeping the
up-
stat line
I'm
in your
keeping the
head?
stat line in my
Oh,
head.
that's right. That's how you know he's
Always.
that's how you
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
Okay,
Sometimes,
yeah,
so,
yeah.
especially in certain matchups, I'm like, all right, I'm
Right.
doing my job. Versus other
Right.
days, you're like, all right, he's kind of serving it up right now. Like, next thing you know, CJ, and I think he ended up with like 12 on me.
Yeah.
12 on any one player in the middle of a game is a lot of points.
Right.
Like, think about it. Like, normally people score 26. Like, JT will score 30 or 40, right? Boom. You look around, it's not the same person guarding him. It's a switch.
Yeah,
Like, so you're like, you
right.
might get 10 points across each different player, or like 8 points, 6 points, 12 points on one player. Like,
He was picking on you, bro.
that's a little bullying, I feel like. Remember the leagues talk about respect for the game. Where is it when it comes to that?
Are y'all talking about that? Like, if a guy has 30, are you like, oh shit, he only gave me 6 though. He only gave me 7.
I've done that before.
Yeah,
He gave y'all 30. He only gave me
He
7.
didn't give me 30, especially if we win. I know he didn't give me 30.
Are you getting tapped in game? Like, you getting cooked, bro. You know what I mean?
I've said that.
You've said that?
You said it to
I've
somebody?
said that,
Oh, you
yes.
getting
I was
baked
like,
right
hey, bro, lock in, bro. You getting baked.
You getting
As
cooked.
as like an elite defender, who's the guy that you dread having to go against now? Like now that you've established yourself as an unbelievable defender, who's the guy that's the nightmare matchup?
Thanks for the compliment in the league.
Yeah.
That makes me feel pretty good about myself.
Yeah, of course.
This is a Lakers guy too. So
Yeah, so
we are humble right now.
Through.
Yeah.
Let's just say the small guards that can shoot. Those are the ones I always say. So like a Steph Curry, Darius Garland, like those two guys, I feel like are just like the epitome of if you want to like see a barbecue.
Yeah.
Like that's one of those.
I
Because I do a solid job. But
Yeah.
like these guys, like when you can't shoot, you can back up. They're fast or twitchy, but listen, they don't make the shot, they don't make the shot. But the ones that you have to pick up at the 4-point line, and next thing you know, these guys are coming off screens and they come off step back. And Darius Garland made me fall twice in one game last year. And I was like, you know what's crazy? I haven't fallen. I stumble, but I never fall.
Yeah.
Like, I'll give him the credit.
When you fall down, do you know in film the next day you're getting?
Oh
like,
no, I'm
everyone's
getting
gonna
cooked
laugh?
on the bench right when I come out. That's how it
Good.
is. That's
Good
how
to
it
know.
works.
Who's the one you
Yeah.
hate to see after that? You know what I
This
mean?
year I'm talking about Blake Griffin.
Yeah, of course.
That makes sense.
Blake Clown?
JT hits me sometimes where it's
Tatum?
like, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Tatum be talking trash for sure. He don't talk trash to other people, but like when you come to the bench, like, yo, I'm not gonna bring it up. Don't worry. He'll say stuff like that. I'm not gonna bring it up. Don't worry about it.
That's
I'm
great.
like, all right,
That's even worse. Like, damn, dog, you already done brought it up. Bring it up.
Right.
You might as well say it now.
So, gotta ask you, man. You look around the NBA. It's a lot of young talent, and I'm not gonna put Tatum and Giannis in that because they the OGs now, which is wild to think about. When you look around, everybody's trying to be him, right? So if you had to pick one guy to build a franchise around, one of these young dudes, it got to be a non-Celtics player. Who are you picking?
I'm picking Luka for sure.
Ooh, okay.
Like if I'm thinking about any draft class after 2018, including my own, I maybe choose Zion, but like Luka because just like the way he sees the game, he's been doing this for so long, and like he's a guy that when you play against him, like he's another guy. Like I feel like Luka's never like cooked me, but like last game we played him this year, I played probably the best defense of anyone I've like think about guarding Luka, and this man was hit. He threw up the ball 4 times and it went in.
You said
Like-
threw up.
like
It was
flipped it.
You're right.
Threw it up. Like one of those, like, all right, cool, like good defense, and he's falling away. He's not even looking at the basket, threw it up, cash. And I'm like, I'm literally talking to him like, there's absolutely no way. He's just smiling, running down the court, trotting. I'm like, man, because with my agency too, so I'm like, man, I hate you so much.
Hey, Luka has a lot of Negro tendencies.
Oh,
I mean,
for sure.
we've seen it. Goddamn!
Damn, bro. That was like a Southern goddamn. That was a Houston goddamn. You know what I'm saying?
He seems like he's been in the States for the longest.
So has his shit talk evolved as he's learned more of the English language? Maybe watched some more shows, got introduced to maybe John Singleton, The Boys in the Hood of the World,
Hey,
movies
listen,
like that?
I'm not gonna lie to you. He got the card, maybe. He be talking shit.
Ooh, no to go play. He can actually attend. Wow.
I say he could go to go play. He's staying at the cookout. I'm about to say he over here. He's fun. He's a fun dude to play against and be around for sure.
You mentioned Zion. Like, okay, guarding a guy like Luka versus guarding Zion. Like, it seems like 2 completely different worlds. And you got to guard both of them. So
it's crazy because I've only played against him once so far, Z. Because in college we never played Duke. My rookie year, I don't think he was playing. I don't know if he didn't play or he did play.
Yeah.
He was out for Bart, yeah.
No, sorry, he played that year.
Oh,
Last
yeah,
year he
yeah.
didn't play. Last year he didn't play at all. And then this following year we didn't play him this year. So like the one time I played him, I was like, yeah, this dude like normally people like strong, like because people consider me strong. And I'm like, this dude's kind of like a bullet. Like, it's one of those things,
Right.
like you take one of those charges. I remember they used to joke about Bron back in the day because Bron was what 280 back then or 290.
He said he was like 240 or something.
Cap.
we don't.
Big cap.
Listen,
big cap.
my
What's the meme?
my weight on my,
Right,
my weight
come
on my thing on the Celtics page has been 235. This is my rookie year. Let's just say I haven't been 235 since college. So
And why don't y'all ever be like, no, man, put my real weight? Or you like that?
I'm cool. Like,
Okay.
let me look slim, bro.
Right, right.
That's like my ID. My ID says 240, so I haven't touched that in the 2000s.
So it's one of those things that I can only imagine what it was like playing Bron back then. But playing against Luka, you see how guys be getting out the way.
Yeah,
I'm
you
too
got to
dumb-
feel that.
I'm too stupid. I'll take a charge. I was about to say I'm the one that stays in there, gets elbowed in the face, and it's like, oh yeah, let's keep going, like move on. But that one time, I remember he went to catch a lob, and I like deflected the lob. He catches it in the air, comes down, hops before I even come hit the ground, and lays it up. I was like, yeah, he's different.
Big and quick like that.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. Like, how do you approach it? You're talking about the 4-point line with these guards. Like, what are you doing when it comes to Zion?
So fortunately enough, most guys can't, like guys like Giannis, Zion, like they can't like back up because if you back up, he's just going downhill, bumping you and jumping over you and finishing.
Right.
Because when he bumps you, you're gonna back up through the restricted area, and next you know he's dunking it. Versus like for me, it's like I'm able enough to like guard him further back. So like now it's like forcing him, like he can't necessarily move me. Like when I guarded Giannis, remember some guys have to pick him up higher because if you don't, he's gonna dunk it. Versus me, like when Giannis used to drive and bump me, I would just stay in that same spot. So now it's like either you shoot a fadeaway turnaround or you have to pick the dribble up or do something or keep barreling in against me and I got some help. That's the difference between those two guys. Like Zion though, like his second jump is ridiculous. Like that's the thing about him, which makes him so hard to guard is like when he misses that first layup, he's getting up before you even have a chance to get the rebound. So unless you have like a Rob Williams back there or somebody else that can get the rebound over him, like it's difficult.
What do you prefer? The guard or that, you know what I'm saying, banging in the post?
I'd rather guard the physical like fight. Because I feel like the guys who are way more like physically dominant are less so worried about like flopping, are less so worried about like calls. and they're competitive. Like, you know what I mean? Versus when you play like guards, like when you have to worry about if a guy's going to throw his head back and flail and fall over.
They're going to get you out of
your hands in the wrong place. They're getting the foul.
Then you get frustrated. Then you're like, all right, bro, stop flopping. Like, or shit like that. Versus like, I've never once had to say like to Giannis or anybody like that, stop flopping. Like, that's a cool thing for me. I like competitive. I like the ones who like don't give a crap what's going on around them. They're willing to just.
I do not flap. I am not a flap.
Is Giannis the guy league wide that everyone's like long treatment session the next day, like where it's just a nightmare?
What's funny is one of our coaches used to coach for the Bucks, and I remember he used to say like it's a battle of wills. So like when we were about to play him in the playoffs, it's like one of you guys is gonna break. It's a matter of who breaks first.
Ooh, wow!
And I was like, sheesh, I'm not gonna be the one to break.
That's some Game of Thrones shit.
It's some Game of Thrones. Like it's like
you give a Sunday ass speech. That's great.
We going in there and we going to battle, and at the end of the day, we're both walking out in wheelchairs if there's a chance. So. Like, it's like one of those things. I remember we played in Game 4, Game 5, Game 6 comes. Normally, like when you watch the Bucks play and they play somebody in the playoffs, like by Game 4, you see guys starting to like get out the way.
Right.
Has 46.
You guys didn't.
On 80% shooting.
Yeah.
But like we kept going, and I kept like me and Al just kept standing up, kept battling, and fortunately enough for us, like I don't know if he got tired or one of those, but it wasn't his best Game 7 that year. But who knows? We have to see him again soon. So
as far as this Celtics team goes, what would be this year? What would be one word you would use to describe the team?
Electric. I was about to say it's one of those things.
You had that
like,
ready,
right?
Yeah.
Trust me, like this team's so fun to watch when you think about it. Like in terms of just how we play, how we move the ball, how competitive each and every one of us are, how much fun we're having while we're on the court. Like it's like one of those things. I always say electric because like it's a current that's not can't be stopped. And when it is, you just try and find a way to redirect it.
I was going to say, it seems like if one guy's got a slightly off night, there's so many guys that'll pick that person up.
Exactly. So like, for example, the Golden State game we just lost, like, yeah, we had a rough game. So now it's just a matter of redirecting that current and make sure you fix it for the next game because like with electricity, it will never stop.
Yeah.
Right.
We're just going to keep flowing and playing the way we do. And it's one of those things that at any point in time you can get shocked by what we do.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
that's kind of how I look at it.
So you mentioned the Warriors, right? Before the finals, during the finals, you said you thought you guys had the better team.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are now 0-4. I want to say those 3 games in the final and then this game this past weekend. Do you still feel like the Celtics are the better team? And what adjustments do you need to make to turn the dubs into the L's?
Yeah. That's
I like that.
Hey,
man.
I'm waiting for it.
And say how much I like that.
There we go.
I'll definitely stay standing on that we're the better team. I just think that for us, we have to do a better job of being more mentally disciplined. As I said before, they're a talented team in what they do, and they've been doing it for a long time. They're a dynasty. They deserve that credit. But in terms of our ability, I think that we have the chance to be that next up and coming group. And for us to take that next step is a matter of staying mature. This team is all going to be about mental toughness.
Okay.
That game last night when we played against them, or however many days ago that was one of our biggest difficulties. When we play that team, I feel like we go away from what we do best. And whether that's credit to them and what they do or credit to what we're not doing, I don't know where to put that line, but I always say we can control what we can control. Mm-hmm. And for us to take that next step and leap is going to be no matter when things go wrong, no matter when things go right, we have to continue to play the way of basketball that we want to play. And when we do that, we've shown that we can beat anybody.
So Game 4 of the finals, Steph goes crazy. What's sort of your guys' reaction as a team and kind of everything off of that?
I remember when that game happened, and we were leading most of the game, and Steph was playing, doing this thing. I think Game 3, Steph had a bad game. Game 4 came back, had a great game. And at the end, like we're up by 6, I think, with like 2 minutes left or something like that. So we're commanding it. I think if we win that game, we probably win that series.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
Next thing you know, they have that comeback, win that game, and they're going nuts in the locker room. Like they sounded like they just won a championship.
And you can hear it down the hall.
And I thought at the time, I was like, it's because they knew they shouldn't have won that game. I said that. I said, these guys know they can't mess with us. Like I said in the locker room. So like come out here, approach Game 5, do our job. And next thing you know, they ended up winning the series. And I look back and I'm like, that for them, like I think Draymond said it that after the series, he said, when we won Game 4, we knew we had them. And for me, I thought it was the other way around because I was thinking like, oh, they're thankful. They're dreaming that they got this win because we have been playing so well and we have been doing our job. And I think for us, I don't know if it's fatigue, I don't know what ended up happening, but I'll never give excuses for a loss. So for us, we just had to come back and improve on what we didn't do well then. And I think that was our offense. And I think that's where you see the growth in our team this year and our ability and just making sure that we understand what's important and what's valuable. And it's going to be great when we get a full healthy team and be able to play against them the same way. And hopefully we get to see them again in the national and in the final. And hopefully we give another great series like we did the last time.
Can I ask, how much did you rewatch that finals?
I haven't watched it once, actually.
I was wondering. I figure that's a hard one to go back and watch.
Yeah,
just
I
in
don't
general.
go back and watch that because for me, it's like I know what we could have improved and done. You know, it's not something that you have to watch and pick things out. Like for us, it was just a matter of making the right decision. You know, making the right read, choosing to play with each other rather than playing in isolation or with one or by ourselves. And I think that's something you've seen as we've gotten better year over year. And it's not something that's going to change overnight. I don't expect it. We've never expected it to change just like that. So for me, it's like we just had to improve on offense because defensively,
crazy.
Those guys, they're going to make shots. They're going to shoot you in the game, shoot you out of the game sometimes.
For sure.
So when you watch them play against anybody this year, they've shot themselves into a game and won a game. And then other games, when they're not hitting, they don't. So it's just a matter of if we stay consistent, make sure our offense doesn't twinkle. That's when we win games like that.
Are you on social media at all?
Yeah.
So I mean, obviously, Game 6, Steph does the ring me in third quarter. I was at the ESPYs. I know you were at the ESPYs as well. Steph's hosting. He kind of makes a joke at you. Obviously, I think so, a writer wrote it for him, whatever it may be. But how much do you use that as fuel for going into this season? Like, you kind of made the same face you're making right now. When he did, it was like, oh, okay, hi, but
that's cute.
Yeah.
You know, it's motivation, man. Like it's one of those things. It's you stay motivated, so you don't have to get motivated. So stuff like that, you just you remember and you try your best to bring that with the right approach to what's coming the next year. You know, like fortunately enough, I'm not at the end of my career yet. There's a lot more to be done, and there's a lot more growth to happen. So that's something I always remember, and it's not something I'll just remember for yesterday or for this upcoming year. It's something that's years and years and years in the making. So you always remember. I remember growing up, I wasn't a high major recruit. I wasn't a guy that everyone agreed with or thought was going to be this guy that's going to be playing NBA. So I always think about even things back then where it's like, this is why I keep going. You always have to have that chip because when you get comfortable, that's when you end up not winning. That's when you end up being a guy that's complacent. That's when you end up fizzling out.
How long was it before you could look forward to this season and not look back at that chip?
From the day we lost.
Okay, for
honestly,
real?
it was like I was ready to get back into the gym that next day. You know, if it wasn't for our team and doctors and telling us we couldn't.
Sit down for a second, man.
It was one of those things. I was
serious.
ready to go because not only did it leave a bitter taste in your mouth to be able to accomplish something. Like I remember looking back into college and it pisses me off still to this day. I only have one ring. I had 5 opportunities, I think, or 6 opportunities. Like I can't go back then. So now it's a matter of making sure you get it back now. And for us, and for myself in general, like you have to keep that edge, keep that mentality of no matter if you get a win, you have to come back and do it again. I remember I won it my second year in college and came into the next year and we were a better team and we ended up not winning it. And I lost in that tournament championship. I lost an NCAA championship. So it's like those things keep you motivated to continue to come back. And this is like, you know, they say in a golf shot, when you tee off and next thing you know, you have a birdie at the last hole, it makes you come back. No, it's the other way around for me. I'd rather have a bogey and next thing you know.
You want to smoke when you know
smoke when I come back.
Yeah.
The last question on these Warriors, and then we'll keep this thing moving and shaking. What is the defensive mindset going into the game? Obviously, you know Steph is going to do his thing. Do y'all say, all right, just let Steph cook and we got to stop these other light-skinned dudes? Or is it we need to shut Steph down because if Steph gets energized, then he's going to really help uplift these other guys? Or like, what's your mindset individually guarding Steph, and then what's the team defensive mindset?
Yeah, for that matchup specifically, I think that it's just a matter of making sure that you control the things that are like controllable because like Steph is going to make shots that no one ever can make. You know what I mean? Like pulling up from half court, stuff like that. They're going to even Poole and those guys. Thompson's going to get hot. But making sure that they don't get the offensive rebounds to get them 2 points. Because like as many as they've made that are flashy, they've missed just as many that are going off the side of the backboard, airballed or hard off the back rim. So like when I look to against the Warriors specifically, it's like you have to make sure you keep Kevon Looney off the glass.
Okay.
You have to make sure you're not allowing Andrew and these guys to get extra possessions. So next thing you know, they get another opportunity to hit another 3 or make another layup or getting these back cuts layups because you're so worried about Steph pulling up. Now your big steps up. Now they get a wide open dunk. So like taking away those things, I feel like that's how you beat the Warriors, even from back then when LeBron and those guys were doing it. Like you ask anybody from years back, like you knew that Steph's going to get he's going to get his points. Like, you know what I mean? He takes as many shots. He's going to have the opportunity. The whole offense is driven around them. So it's a matter of containing him as much as you can and then making sure that all the other guys don't get the comfortability to be able to compete and feel good about themselves.
So let's talk about you individually. I wanted to go back to your rookie year. Missed your first 25 three-point shot attempts. And like you said, you were spaced out. It was over like 23, 24 or something.
Right.
Won a game, I think it was.
So you shot 25% from three that year. Now let's fast forward to this year. You're shooting 46.2%, taking more threes and making more threes than you've ever made in your career. So go back to that time and just your team having faith in you. Brad Stevens was then the head coach. But, you know, where guys ever like, yeah, all right, dog, like this not you. Go ahead and, step in a little bit. Or did they encourage you to keep going? And how did that set you up for the success you're having now?
Yeah, what's crazy is not a single person ever told me to stop shooting. That's something I'll always be thankful for this team for, because especially as a rookie in the lineup that's playing. Like normally guys would be like, all right, now get the ball back to the best player. Or like, come on, Rook. Like if you're not making a shot, don't take it. So like for us and that team back then, I remember Brad just kept saying like, we know what type of shooter you are, so keep shooting. Like when you're open, take advantage. We actually want you to shoot it more. And I'm like, man, I haven't made one. You want me to shoot it more? But I remember they teased me about it. They would joke with me, like, but they would never like say like, all right, stop shooting. Like they
lost faith.
I remember when JB first called me Ben Simmons, I took it personally. I think
wow.
Damn. No, I'm serious. He did.
Straight time.
Respect to Ben. Respect to Ben and the player he is. But like, I remember I said that my rookie year. He was like, JB was calling me Ben Simmons. Like guys were calling me. Like they said, I think Shaq made his first three before I have, or some shit like that. They were on my head.
No, there's no way.
Come on.
They were on my head. But like, they were just clowning me. So I was like, all right, bet, say less. And then next, once I made one, I think I shot like 46 or something afterwards and 50 something in the playoffs. So like I laugh when I look back at it, because like now when I go through a slump, it's like, man, I missed 25. Like I'm never gonna be that.
I'll be fine.
I'll be fine.
Was it the arena differences? I gotta ask, because like as someone who worked in college basketball, I always feel like college arenas, the backdrop's not as far, and you see guys go to the tournament, they play in these giant buildings, and everyone shoots like shit. And sometimes you see guys go to the next level and they can't hit those shots. So did you feel like arena to arena it was messing you up?
I feel like it's because I didn't have confidence at first. Because as well as I could shoot it, I didn't believe I could shoot it.
Were you thinking when you were shooting?
Yeah, stuff like that. Where like you're this wide open, there's no way you miss this.
Yeah.
Like that's the way. Like when you first get into the league, literally vets will do that to you. They'll just be like, they'll look at whatever, they don't know your name, jersey number. They'll be like, who's number 7? Can he shoot? It's like, if he can't, they don't say, yeah, he can shoot, or like, absolutely. And they're like, all right, we'll see if he can. And next, I remember I did it this year. I did it to somebody. Dude caught the ball. I literally looked at him. I turned around, said, go ahead and shoot your shot. Man, clanked it off the back rim. I was like, are we running in transition? But like,
who we talking about?
I don't even know his name.
Okay.
Damn.
Okay.
I think it was against the Wizards, though.
Okay. We'll take that.
We'll find it.
But yeah.
We'll talk about your rookie year. I saw a story. You guys were playing the Lakers. You're on the bench, and LeBron kind of did the same thing to you. I think he called you Greg or something like that.
Man.
So tell me that story. Just how did that make you feel as a rookie talking to, in my opinion, the greatest basketball player of all time?
See, people always think it was Greg, but like it was. So it's funny because on the bench, who was it? Was it Ennis? I forget who was on the bench. JB. Somebody was on the bench, and I said something. I was calling out a play because they called a play. I'm saying like, they're about to do this. He's like, no, Grant.
Oh, he said Grant.
And like everyone thought it was Greg. So I was like, there's no, like, man, I've talked to this man 26 times. He's not going to call me Greg.
I thought he was just trying to humble you doing one of those LeBron mind game things.
He was saying I was wrong. But like stuff like that where like these guys who are like the guys used to watch when they know your name. Like I was like, when I first guarded Kev and guys like that who you grew up watching.
Yeah.
And like, of course they don't know you. Like they may know who you are because like Bron, I remember I asked Bron after my first game I ever played him. I said like, thank you, all this stuff. And he's like, man, I remember watching you at Tennessee, like cooking, like stuff like that. I was like, made me feel cool, but
you sure it wasn't Cap?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
At the same time, who knows of how it works nowadays?
I always said Grant Williams was going to go to the Celtics. And he was going to be a three-point shooter.
Right. So it actually was super cool. But I always look back because maybe he did because Chris Paul coached me at AAU and stuff like that. So maybe that was the connection. Yeah. But like I remember like when I first played Kev, at first I don't think he knew who I was, and I you know, you got to grow. You got to improve for these guys to respect you. And I always say, like, I don't want you to, like, I remember when I first played against a star player, I'm like, I don't want you like to treat me with respect until I earn your respect.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like, until I earn the respect, I don't think that, like, you can't come in and be like, I'm that guy. Like, you got to show it and prove it. So, like, I think I've done that to this point and continue got to do it.
Was there a trash talker that surprised you when you got into the league? And my follow-up to that is, how glad are you to have Marcus Smart on your team?
Oh, yeah. Honestly, guys don't really talk trash unless you start by talking trash.
Interesting.
So, like, when it comes to, like, guys who talk trash, like, no one really does it unless you start it with
provoke it.
You got to provoke it. Okay. So, like, other than the ones who start, like, remember there was one time we played Memphis my freshman year or my rookie year, and Dillon Brooks, they went on that 6-0 run or 8-0 run, and he screams, boom or bang or something. It was something like that. And then next thing you know, we went on like a 26-2 run or something like that. And every time we scored, bang, bang, the entire team. You had the entire bench. You had the entire bench screaming bang. It was hilarious.
Mike Breen's just smiling somewhere.
Right. So you're a cool dude. Obviously, we all just met you, but you came here super professional, shook everybody's hand. So how do you turn on that switch when you get in the game? Because you said you can get petty, you can get into that deep shit talk. How do you turn on that switch? And have there ever been a time where you saw that you really just broke a guy mentally with that, where it's just like, I'm ready to fight this dude because he's saying some shit to me?
Yeah, I feel like I'm just the ultimate competitor. So, like, off the court, like, I'm the nicest guy. Like, I try and treat everybody with respect and everything else, how I was raised. But, like, when we start getting in between the lines, now it's like, we don't need to talk like that. We can talk afterwards. Right now, we have a thing that we have to focus on. We have a game. You're on the other side. You're the opposition. So, like, even in board games, I'm like the biggest trash talker, like, you know, having fun. But I take everything as a competition. So, like, I think I made people want to fight in college a lot, just because I always say curse words and stuff like that, call people outside of their name.
Oh, really?
Like, so I'm that type of trash talker where it's like, you
were totally different person.
Totally different person. Stuff I would never like normally say, I would say, and when I'm talking trash.
Is there a filter? I mean, this show is Out of Pocket.
No filter.
So you are out of pocket to the max.
Out of pocket to the max.
I mean, you say you played for CP3's AAU team. He was your coach. At any point, he's like, all right, young fella, like, you gotta chill out on my guys.
Nah. So
or he's like, yo, more.
Chris is a trash talker too. So, like, when he only starts if you start. So, like, last year, because this game, I think he was coming off a heel injury or whatever else. I remember when I first guarded him, I guarded him really well. And I got to stop. I said, see, you know you can't do that against me. Like, you can't, just like to see what he starts. Because he gets, like, when you start talking trash to him, especially as a guy who used to play for him, he gets super into it. Like, he starts, like, getting super motivated to, like, bust your ass. So next thing you know, he comes down, does, like, this move, boom, 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 and I block it, but they call a foul. I said, man, stop bailing this old ass. and Chris is like, you know, you fouled G. Like, you know, you can't guard me. Like, stuff like that. So it's, like, it's goofy stuff like that.
Coached you, dog.
You don't have to say anything, but that Suns team, it seems like, loves to bring that level of trash talk out of people.
For sure.
So I think that's been very fun to watch.
But not on the other side for some reason. they can't handle the other side of it just as much. But
So Tatum's played at MVP level right now.
Right.
How's it been watching him continually get better every year? You know what I mean?
It's been incredible. Since I came in, I knew him before because one of my close friends, best friends, his best friends. When I first did my workout for the C's, he had me over at his crib. It was kind of cool, or his apartment at the time.
Yeah.
And when I got drafted, I was like, oh, this is cool. Like, I have somebody that knows him, so, like, I can hopefully form a relationship, and I'd hopefully meet a couple of these guys. JB, I was always told I was gonna be good friends with because of our intellect and stuff like that. Like, Smart's even a character, so it's like good people all around. And then Kemba came, and, like, I grew up watching Kemba in Charlotte, North Carolina, so, like, that was even cooler for me. So, like, I remember looking back to that year and seeing the growth of not only just JT, but JB and even Smart year over year, and seeing how much they've improved, not only just talent-wise, but just their approach and their professionalism, how they treat people with respect, how they've always been very respectful guys, but, like, being able to, like, communicate with others, being able to trust one another, like, that stuff has to grow. You know, when you first come into the league, everyone's trying to, you know, be themselves, prove themselves and everything else. And now I think they're so secure of one another and so secure of this team that they know that they can talk to one another the right way and how to approach one guy versus the other. Like, it's just so much that goes into the sport of basketball behind the scenes that people don't really give credit for. And I want to give them big shouts out for that.
Jaylen's been unbelievable this year. Do you feel like Jaylen and Jayson are getting left off of some of these lists for best duos in the league.
Absolutely. They're the best duo in the league, in my opinion.
I think so too. And I'm a Lakers fan.
Yeah.
And so that seems crazy to me that people are putting, I love AD and LeBron, but
yeah, I know.
They're both
I'm looking at LeBron and AD like these dudes is old as shit now.
Right. Yeah,
they're both having career years.
Yeah.
JT, in my opinion, has been the MVP from the start of the season. Like, he's been that electric of a player.
I'm from St. Louis, so that's music to my ears.
You know?
I love hearing that.
And then
very
JB's
much.
playing at all NBA level. Like, when you look at the guys who are in the same conversation, I wish all NBA wasn't positional.
Right.
But
It
like,
should be.
these guys, like, when you look at JB, he's been doing stuff that would be, if he was on his own team, he'd be averaging what, 30 plus?
yes.
Same way JT, like, they were each on their own team, they'd be doing, and they're doing this stuff together.
Crazy.
Like, normally when you look at duos, like you look at Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, like, they're both doing really well. I think they both deserve the credit that's respected. But like Shea and these guys who are on their own team, yeah, you can get 35 points. But like, at the same time, like, these dudes are doing it and winning at a high level. Shea has too, but like, I'm trying to think of somebody who hasn't, like, where they're on the lesser team and they may get an All-NBA nod in years past. I know Trey did it 3 years ago when the Hawks were like 8 and 20.
Yeah, rough year.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Right.
He did go crazy, so you got to give him the credit. But like, these two have been playing at such a crazy level that you have to like give them that credit and that deserve. And if they keep it up, I think they both deserve to be not only just the MVP, but also All-NBA team, both of them.
Let's go back to last year, man. Y'all were 23 and 24 to start the season. People kind of wrote y'all off. A lot of people in the square media were basically like, oh, that duo's not going to work together. They need to trade Tatum. They need to trade Brown, whatever it may be. So I want to know, was there a specific point or moment, like maybe a players-only meeting or something like that, where y'all just got the ship right and we're like, all right, man, we can go do this shit?
Honestly, no. We when you look at that record, I remember I looked back in that first half of the season, we always were up in games. We just ended up losing them. We were about 18 against Chicago going into the fourth quarter with like 7 minutes left, and we ended up losing. So like stuff like that, we just weren't playing the right type of basketball. When we got close to the deadline, we went on like a 7-game win streak right before we lost to I think it was the Pistons, but back then. And then after that, we made some trades and we just kept that wave rolling, you know? And everyone was writing us off, you know, talking about trade JT, trade JB, you know, all that stuff, and they can't work together. And we never believed that. Like, we knew that they played well together. We knew that as a team, we just needed to commit, you know, buy in. Because, like, you got a new head coach, you got a whole new team. Like, it's all these things that, you have a little bit of a rough patch to start. But then once you got over that, we can end up being one of the best teams in the league, if not the best. So I think that's where we've just caught and carried that into this season.
How much do y'all hang out with each other off the court? I mean, you mentioned you play board games. You playing board games on the team playing, and I want to know who's the most competitive guy on your team outside the basketball court playing games, video games, whatever it may be.
Honestly, it just depends on what game we're playing. So, like, on the plane, you have guys play cards and stuff like that. Like, when I want like a board game night, it's like Sam Hauser, Luke, and like guys like that, where like you can play any type of board game and be comfortable, like category, stuff like that.
They're not cheating. Everybody's respecting the rules.
Respectfully, I haven't caught anybody yet.
Okay.
But,
You looking for it though, huh?
looking for it. Let me my eyes out,
You
'cause
feel me?
you know who
That third eye open.
I've seen Smart cheat in a couple board games before. I've definitely seen that.
What have you seen? What board game have you seen Marcus Smart cheating? I gotta know.
He cheated in Catan one time. I was like, bro,
Damn.
What is
you know
that?
dang well. It's one of those-
It's a great Celtics Catan, great game.
It's like a game. You have to learn about it. I was about to
Yeah.
say it's one of those. He took like 4 resources. I'm like, bro, you don't have a settlement on that number, bro. Like, what are we doing?
That sounds smart.
That's
right.
smart.
It's a real estate game. His namesake.
Blake Griffin joined the team this year. He's kind of notorious for messing with guys, done some stand-up comedy. How's it been having him in the locker room?
Man, he's one of the best teammates I ever had, man. Like, he's gotten that label already, and it's been, 20-something games. Like, he's one of those vets that he knows where he is now. Like, he knows the career that he's on. He knows he has one goal to accomplish, and he gives you crap. He's a guy that naturally can just talk trash. He does impersonations, so he does Peyton Pritchard better than anyone I've ever seen. He's like, hey, yo, BG. What's up, BG? So, like, stuff like that where it's like keeps the locker room light. He's a guy that, like, he always jokes, like, we were talking about people getting dunked on. And I was like, yeah, I've been dunked on a couple times in my career. Like, Sabonis got me most recently last game or whatever else when we played the Kings. He was like, yeah, like, I was like, dang, BG, like, how many guys have you, like, dunked on in this locker room? He's like, you know, man, I just, I don't dunk no more. I just try my best. I caught Rob twice last year, nothing like that. But, like, he would just say slick stuff, like, don't throw jazz. He's a straight guy. He's like, and Payton was like, didn't you dunk on Gallo? And he's like, yeah, I'm not like Payton, get out the way of everybody. But, like, I definitely dunked on Gallo. Like I said, dang, you really have dunked on a lot of people. Yeah. He's like, yeah, one day you'll get there, brother. Like, one day. He'll just say, like, slick stuff where you're like, all right, man, BG, go somewhere. But he's the man.
So you brought up Joe, youngest head coach in the NBA, like 34.
Mm-hmm.
After everything that happened this summer, you know what I mean? What did he do to get y'all to buy in, to his philosophy?
I think guys were already bought in just because, like, when Joe got promoted to the interim position or head coach, whatever you want to call it, like, we've been familiar with Joe over the past 4 years. Like, he's been with us since when Brad was here. Mm-hmm. And he's always been a guy that's kind of been quiet, like, he talks to people on the side, but, like, everyone respected Joe for his approach and how he operated. And, like, think about it. Like, when other staffs would call about, hey, can we hire Joe Mazzulla, Brad and Danny would be like, no. they all knew what was going
for
on.
sure. Knew what time it was.
So I think when he got the head coaching job, I think he sat down with every single player individually. And that's something that you don't necessarily see every head coach do in the league. Not only just ask how I can be better for you, but how can you be better for us and how can I get the best out of you? And that's something you got to respect as a head coach to be able to do and not feel uncomfortable having difficult conversations.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as like I've been around, like Ime was the same way. That's why we loved Ime too. Like, it was an incredible transition. And for Joe, he's been very, very detailed and rigorous in his approach. He's been challenging us every single day and just telling us, he's like, you guys are the best team in the NBA. Now, are you guys going to be humble and appreciate that and, like, approach it the right way and come in every day with the right mentality? Or are you guys going to come in and say, okay, we can just take this game off and be this team that, up and down and not really care about winning and stuff like that? Like, you have to have that hunger, remember where we were. And remember what moment you're trying to get back to and what you're trying to accomplish.
Past summer, I know you and the Celtics were talking about an extension. Didn't get a deal done. You said you were disappointed about that. Naturally, I would be too. I'm a man who loves bags. Who doesn't? You may know.
Who doesn't?
Who doesn't?
Yeah.
But just want to know, do you feel like that was a blessing in disguise, not getting that extension? Then you're having obviously the best season of your career. You're doing your thing we talked about before the show, but I want to say your true shooting percentage somewhere around like the 71, 72% range. They got all these bullshit minimums and shit. I'm not an analytics nerd by any stretch of the imagination, but without those restrictions, I think you'd be number one in the league. So do you feel like that was a blessing in disguise now to be able to perform this season and now tell them to bring me my money come next offseason?
Yeah, I think that they were comfortable with that in the first place because they knew what type of person I am and the approach I was going to the season with. I think that from an organization, you just have to do your best to protect and to take what you can, because for some players, they would give in. They'd be like, all right, like, I'll take this. This is life-changing money. Like, who cares if it's like you're missing out on this, But for me, it was like I always challenge myself to do more and challenge myself to be better. And coming into the season, I said, no matter what I'm going to do, I knew that I'm going to just improve on what I've done and try and be the best player and person I can be this year, and especially as a teammate, and not let it affect it. Because some guys come into it and they approach and they try and do things that aren't necessarily them. And I told the staff, I told the Celtics, I told players, I said, listen, no matter if we get a deal done or not, I'm just going to be me. Mm-hmm. And that's not going to change. And I'm going to try and be the best, not only teammate and everything else I can be, as I always have been. And I think that's where the respect kind of came in, and I've just kind of taken that and ran with it and try to do with everything within my mold and continue to try and help this team win games, because that's the most important goal.
All right.
Hypothetical here, just complete hypothetical. If I had, I don't know, say like $20,000 and I gave it to you today, is there something you would spend that money on?
Yeah, the fine I just got yesterday for punching the ball into the stands when I meant to punch it at a backboard.
I figured, I saw the clip and I was like, he meant to have it go right off the backboard. And I can only imagine when you saw it go over the backboard, you're like, that's a check right into the stand.
And listen, right when it happened, you just like, at first you're like, hopefully nobody sees it. Because like sometimes like people have done some stuff like that and you get the ball back quick and you just drop it and you just like pretend like nothing happened. But like right when it went in the stand, especially with how far it went, I like punched it and I'm like, all right, that's going right at the backboard. And I started going left. I was like,
Little spin.
It was like Debo
coming out of
punching
it.
A little bit,
the way he soared out,
and he flew. And next thing you know, the fan caught it and was like, oh, and then threw the ball back. So I was like, oh yeah, maybe we're good. The next thing I turn around, all I see is little Scott do his little, and I was like,
Great moment for the fan though.
I was like, oh, Scott, what happened? He said, you know, it's an automatic ejection, right? I said, I didn't know that. And next thing I just walked off the court because it's not like anything happening. Like it's not I was mad or anything like that. It was like the Steph shot the shot. It was a timeout. So I was like, oh yeah, boom. And next thing you know, you're like, I'm never punching the basketball again because I don't know where those punches gonna go. Maybe I'm just too strong.
You're on the NBPA leadership board. Did you get any texts from those guys like, hey, like you know that fine's coming? We're sorry.
I didn't get them because what's it called? I don't think anybody saw it because it was a late game.
Yeah,
but I'm guessing I'll see that from CJ or somebody today talking trash about how your pockets feel or something like that. Damn, it hurts. Let's just say, I'm just
pay it forward.
Pay it forward. I love charity.
100%. Great way to look at it.
I love taking care of the kids.
Great way to look at it.
So, like Zach mentioned, you VP of the NBPA. I think there was a report that just dropped recently that the opt-out extension deadline is getting pushed past December 15th. With the CBA negotiations, I've seen a few lockouts in my time. There's a potential for a lockout July 1st, 2023. How optimistic are you that the NBA and the Players Union will be able to get a deal done before that time? For both sides, I think that we're all wanting to get a deal done. It's something that you never want to go into a lockout. And it's one of those things that from the players and from the league perspective, I think all of us are motivated to get a deal done, to not only take care of the players, but also take care of what organizations need. That's the thing, the growth between the league and the players has been. We've turned into a bipartisan league where we both work in fruition with one another. And although, at times you don't feel like it may be bipartisan, just like in politics to this day, for sure. Like you have to try and work to, make both sides happy. And you're going to argue certain positions stronger than others and argue some that you might have less impact. So at the end of the day, it's some negotiation. So we're going to do our best to not only help the players out as much as we can, but also make sure that we have the best league moving forward. I think that as there's mutual benefits on both sides, we definitely have to come in with the right stance and understanding that we have to hold firm if we need to. So at any time we're prepared for anything, and our goal is to be optimistic. But until there's a deal done, and any deal, since I learned that this past year, until the deal's done, you can't really say one or the other. For sure.
You have a very unique game. You know what I mean? Who was a guy that you were watching growing up? Like, this is who I want to be in the league. You feel me?
You know what's funny?
Who was your GOAT?
GOAT, that's different. That's MJ. That's not going to change.
Okay.
But like in terms of the player that I wanted to be, I always thought I was going to be some 7-footer. So like I thought one day I was going to be Shaq. Then I realized I wasn't growing no more.
When did you stop growing? Because you tall as hell, bro.
Yeah,
like,
I stopped. So I got to be like 6'4" when I was like 12 or 13.
Okay.
I
already know.
I'm on my way.
Oh, yeah.
I'm about to be 7 foot.
Yeah.
And actually, I got to be 6'6", and it kind of fizzled out. I was like, all right, never mind.
Never mind.
For a guy that's 6'6",
yeah.
I was like, all right, who are guys that like look like me? Because I was like, maybe I can jump and be like these guys, high flyers, and I realized I wasn't a jumper. And then I was like, all right, cool.
Never mind.
I'm gonna turn into I loved guys like Boris Diaw and like Charles Barkley. I love Charles Barkley.
For sure.
Like, that was one of my favorite players.
Bucket getter too.
Bucket getter. He was
People
a dog.
forget how much of a dog he was. He was cold.
They always say he was the second best player on that Olympic team.
Right.
Think about it. Like he was that dog. So like I always give credit to Chuck. But like guys like that, like I remember like fortunately enough I play against him now, but I call Dre all the time. Like he's still gonna be that guy to me, like in terms of like how I shaped my career. And I always give him that respect. So like guys like that who are like the ultimate, like you don't win championships without guys like that. You don't win without Robert Horry. You don't win without like guys who make an impact. He may not necessarily be the number one guy. People might not give him the credit, but those guys are Hall of Famers in my mind. Because without guys like that on every team, you're not going to win.
For sure.
And I embraced that role because I knew talent-wise I can continue to improve. So if I end up being that number one guy one day, I'll be prepared. But it's one of those things that like I knew that like you have to keep yourself humble and also understand where you are at in that position and where you can become. So like same way I do that every single day with my approach. I approach it with the right mentality and understanding what I can be and what I am now.
Why is MJ your GOAT?
Why is MJ my GOAT? Oh, like you got to think about the difference between like MJ he took 2 years off.
Yeah.
Like Bron's been playing 20 plus years. Like those guys are like 1A and then close number 2, maybe 1B, like those two are special and unique in their own right. But Mike was just He shaped so many guys' careers, and LeBron will do the same. I think that we'll see that as years come. But for a guy in my position, I did grow up watching LeBron, but I watched MJ too in film.
Yeah.
And the rules different. The rules change, and like points are going to be different. Like people play differently. Like, but at the end of the day, like I think that like when you think about Jordan, like you will always remember who that name will not ever go away.
Yeah.
You know, like he's made that much of an impact not only in life but also on people's like it changed basketball to then to come. So I take it not only to the basketball account being 6-0 and everything else, and being a guy that like, yes, he had Scotty and Tony Kukoc and Steve Kerr and guys like the talent of the past. But like at the end of the day, he had to lead the team to win, and he did that. So I got to give him that respect.
Perfect.
So last question for you. This is going to be a fun one. So you got your nickname Batman last March after you clamped Joker. You said if he's a Joker, I'm Batman. Respect it. You showed up this Halloween in the Batman costume. So if you had to give your starting 5 of superheroes, who are your starting 5 superheroes?
Ooh. Is it Marvel or DC or does it matter?
You can do whatever you want. You can play in both sandboxes.
Play in both sandboxes? I ain't never been told that before. I'm trying to see what that be like. I will say I'll start from size back, you know, like I'll go Hulk at the center just because like as more he gets angered, he'll have more talent. I feel like that's how he works in the comics, so I'm gonna give that to him. I gotta have a cerebral point guard, so I'll give that to the Batman, you know. Make a guy that, or a power forward. I can make him a power point forward, one or the other. Okay. I'll make him point guard because he got gadgets, he can throw dimes and stuff like that. So I'll give the Bat my starting point guard position. You know, you got to have a GOAT. You know, you got to have a guy that is able to do anything, and I feel like that's a Superman. You know, you got to have, and you know, you got to have your AB. You know, you got to have the guy that knows how to play the game, and the guy that goes out there and gets buckets. And I feel like Superman can be my shooting guard. Let's think about what I need. It was 3 and a 4 left.
Yeah.
Ooh, honestly, at the 4, I'll give Mr. Fantastic. Just because smart player, you know, he's a guy that he's long, you know, he can defend. He can be a guy that's switch guy. He's a guy that, you know, doesn't get injured, you know, always available, you know.
Good answer.
Who's the 3?
And then at the 3, I got to give it to my guy T'Challa. The Black Panther.
There we go.
I was holding y'all hope to make sure. I was holding y'all to make sure you brought the black.
You gotta have some culture on your team.
Don't strip that street away.
You gotta make sure that you know you guys are able to compete at any other time and know that a guy that's, you know, he's a dog at the end of the day. He might be branded as a cat, but let's just say he's a dog.
Yeah. I'm glad you didn't have like Hawkeye or someone like on there. That would have been.
That'll be my Duncan Robinson off the bench.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
That would be my shooter off the bench. That'll be my dead shot.
You need a superhero with Negro tendencies always. So I think Black Panther really checked that box.
Gotta have one.
You gotta keep the team together.
Thanks to Grant Williams for coming on. Make sure to hit the subscribe button on YouTube. You can get this as a podcast wherever you get your podcasts, Apple Music, Spotify, Stitcher, if that's still a thing. Episodes drop every Friday. Comment on this one, like the episode, and make sure to rate us if you're listening to it.
One button to subscribe. Just saying.
We need
There you go.
There we go.
We need somebody on Crenshaw and Slauson selling bootlegs of the show. That's when you really know. I got the Outta Pocket bootlegs.
Right.
That should be a cold open
you know
we have.
I mean? Right. We should be the ones selling them. But anyway, let's get that bread.
Got them out the trunk. That new one.
Yeah.